It was, yeah, not what I expected. I expected a lot more.
He showed that his striking is just as good as anyone. He can touch Alex Pereira.
But I wasn't expecting Magomed Ankalaev to actually beat him.
With a 14-fight unbeaten run, wins against top UFC contenders, and now a massive win against former UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev is the absolute truth. The newly crowned champ is a different kind of monster that was criminally counted out.
I'm going to go with the favorite on this one, Alex Pereira. KO.
I think with Ankalaev saying that he's going to strike, I mean, do you believe him? I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, you tell me.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I don't.
But it only took him 25 minutes to prove that he doesn't just beat you, he beat you at your own game and until the final bell.
Question. Is Ankalaev a man of his word? Does he get credit? Because his words were that I'm going to stand up and I'm going to kickbox with him. I'm going to beat him in the stand-up. That's exactly what he did.
The Dagestani's actually pretty scary, and most people are only finding that out now that he's comprehensively beat one of the best in the world.
And now he's fighting Ankalaev, who can do everything really well.
Ankalaev, however, has always been dangerous, and Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov was the first one to predict that he'd become a champion down the road. The late, great Russian coach had predicted that Ankalaev only needed one thing to rule the world, and that was to know the English language, because skill-wise, he was always destined to be champion. Though it took him longer than expected, his scary rise should have had the alarm bells ringing. The Russian had a terrible start to his UFC career. Since then, he's been on an absolute tear. He first took out some unranked contenders and then slowly started to work some of the top guys in the division. It wasn't until his win over former title challenger Thiago Santos that people started taking him seriously. Just a few months after that, Ankalaev absolutely smashed former title challenger and
he's fantastic. He's fantastic, man. He's a tough dude. You know, he walks forward. He's very simple. He doesn't do a lot of things. He's not like the crazy busy guy. He's not super high output. At least historically. You know, that could all change next Saturday. Who knows? But yeah, man, he doesn't do a lot, which doesn't leave a lot of opportunities.
Of a draw against Walker, he came back to stop Sander Rakic to leave no doubt that he was the division's #1 contender. After almost 7 years in the promotion, Ankalaev finally had his big opportunity as he challenged Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title at UFC 313. Pereira had taken out 3 former champions en route to glory and had a kickboxing advantage, so most pros weren't giving Ankalaev much of a chance.
Fight, Magomed Ankalaev is outmatched on the feet. Okay, that doesn't mean that he can't win on the feet. That doesn't mean he can't catch him with the right hand and knock him out. But that isn't his best chance to victory.
Like I said, if Ankalaev doesn't drop level within in the first,
I would pick Pereira by knockout.
Yeah. Surprisingly, Magomed Ankalaev didn't have to wrestle Alex Pereira to the ground to win. He just outstruck him. Ankalaev beat Pereira at his own game and walked away as the new UFC light heavyweight champion after a super close 5-round fight at UFC 313.
It was, yeah, not what I expected. I expected a lot more.
The loss snapped Pereira's 5-fight win streak, which included 3 title defenses. Going in, everyone was talking about how Pereira would deal with Ankalaev's wrestling. But instead of dominating with takedown attempts, if anything, and landed the cleaner strikes.
Even though he tried a lot of takedowns, but he wasn't successful with it. But it's just that the fact that they were there and Alex knew that he wanted to, and like you're saying, it makes a difference in his offense. He was hesitant. He was much more hesitant tonight than he was in any of the fights you've seen. He's normally walking through people and throwing a lot of offensive shots. In this one, you know, his output was half.
Pereira focused on calf kicks, while Ankalaev kept marching forward, putting pressure on him. Round 2 was the turning point, when Ankalaev landed some solid shots and even rocked Pereira right before the buzzer. Ankalaev's well-rounded game was trouble for Pereira throughout their 5-round fight, and although the Dagestani failed to secure any takedowns, just mixing in wrestling made Pereira tired and slowed him down. The fight was razor close, with fans split on the scorecards, but the judges had no doubts as to who won.
Os lutadores vão fazer isso. E aí se torna chato, ninguém quer ver.
No, we followed our strategy. We know that he puts people against the fence and he plays that game. But giving him the win with a game plan like that, it kind of incentivizes people to do that against people. People might say it's a boring style, but when a guy gets a win doing that, it kind of makes people want to do that too.
If anyone doubted Ankalaev's skills before, they sure don't now.
Ankalaev, in my opinion, he wanted it more. Pressure. He looked the fresher man. Mixed in between the takedowns and the striking beautifully. I wasn't sure if he would do that, to be honest. I
didn't give him an opportunity and didn't allow him. Yes, the crowd were booing in the 5th round. He pushed him up against the fence. But hey, listen, that's the game. It's mixed martial arts.
All Ankalaev, man. Ankalaev really demonstrated and showed the fighter, the striker that he is. But I wasn't expecting Magomed Ankalaev to actually beat him.
The Dagestani is one of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC light heavyweight division. He might not be the flashiest name, but his skill makes him a nightmare matchup for almost anyone at 205 pounds. His game's built on fundamentals, discipline, and the ability to adapt inside the cage. And that's exactly how he was able to stand and bang with arguably the scariest strikes in the UFC.
A little bit. But ultimately, he fought a wonderful fight and showed that he was not wrong in saying I could stand with him, because he did have to stand for 25 minutes against the most dangerous striker in the UFC, possibly UFC history, and he came out as the champ.
Ankalaev's striking is sharp, technical, and efficient. He has a strong background in kickboxing and mixes his attacks well, using a powerful jab, clean boxing, and devastating kicks. The Dagestani doesn't throw wild shots, and every strike is calculated.
Ankalaev's doing a good job of not overexposing himself and overextending himself, just being nice and patient and staying at that southpaw. He's doing a little better job about addressing that leg kick, but he still hasn't gotten much off, and Alex Pereira hasn't got to that flow state yet. Oh, shit! See, Ankalaev's very good when he gets close. He doesn't really extend himself.
His counterpunching is one of his biggest weapons, making opponents hesitant to overcommit. While he might not have the one-shot knockout power of a fighter like Alex Pereira, his precision and timing allow him to land significant damage over time.
Magomed striking is seriously being slept on here. Problem with that is Magomed is a counter striker. If you go back and you look at his last few fights, he counters. He waits for you to throw, waits for you to get, to overexert yourself. And even off of feints, if you feint and it puts your feet in the wrong spot, he's countering. He's countering. He counters with combinations. They're fast, and he mixes up his punches. So he has a variety of strikes available at his disposal.
What separates Ankalaev from many light heavyweights is his patience and high fight IQ.
Him to shoot a double leg shot like we do sometimes, Henry and Khabib and Islam, some of these guys can do, and run him down, take him down the center and control him. And no, he doesn't necessarily do that. He showed that his striking is just as good as anyone. He can touch Alex Pereira. He's not afraid of him. He kept his chin down. And man, he was just a step ahead. I mean, he landed.
Ankalaev rarely makes reckless mistakes and is comfortable both leading the dance and countering. His striking defense is solid, and he doesn't get drawn into unnecessary brawls. If an opponent tries to pressure him, he stays composed, evades, and finds openings.
He's a striker. He actually loves striking. Ankalaev loves striking, bro. He loves it. He loves striking as much as Alex Pereira loves striking.
Ankalaev has strong wrestling, which is a major factor in his success. He doesn't shoot for takedowns constantly, but the threat of his grappling keeps strikers from getting too aggressive. If needed, he can grind opponents down, control them against the cage, and mix in ground and pound. Even when he doesn't get the takedown, just forcing grappling exchanges drains his opponent's energy and slows down their striking output. For a big guy, Ankalaev's gas tank is impressive. he can maintain a steady pace for 5 rounds without slowing down much. He also has a strong chin, having never been knocked out in his career. His durability allows him to take risks when necessary and make adjustments mid-fight. If there's any knock on Ankalaev, it's that he can sometimes be too patient. He has the tools to dominate, but he doesn't always push the pace aggressively. Against elite competition, close fights could go either way. If Ankalaev adds a bit more urgency to his game, nobody at light heavyweight will be able to handle him. He'll become even scarier. And that's bad news for the whole division. Will Magomed Ankalaev reign as the light heavyweight champion for a long time? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.